Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back for episode 13 of Words Are Tough. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and I'm here with my co-host
David Diokendo.
And we have a special MMA episode for you back again with the MMA.
UFC 264, Poirier vs. McGregor 3.
We are very excited for that.
I know we don't sound excited. I'm actually really, not really tired. I'm fatigued because I just came from jiu-jitsu.
You're getting your UFC on.
Yeah, and the weather is kind of crazy. It's really, really rainy. Power is going out. You know, floods are happening in New Jersey. It's kind of bizarre. And, like, it was the 4th of July not too long ago, so if you were a religious person, you would think it was, like, the world's going to end, you know?
Yeah, Hurricane Elsa.
If you were to add everything together, like, oh, these are, like, you know, terrible, I guess you can say, this is way too early in the podcast to lose my train of thought. Like catastrophes of sorts. But I actually am pretty excited for UFC 264, mainly because it's a trilogy. And those are you don't really see trilogy, at least good trilogies, happen that often. What was the last trilogy that you remember that was like pretty significant?
I think one off the top of my head was Cain Velasquez and Dos Santos.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The last memorable one that like it felt like it really weighed a lot was probably, this is a long time ago. This is Iceman Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture. That was a pretty big trilogy. But trilogies are rare, and the last one we were waiting for, which never really happened yet, is Nate Diaz against McGregor. But there's kind of milking.
Yeah,
kind of milking that.
I think with Nate Diaz and McGregor, what they're thinking is like, we don't need to do this right now. We got this in the back pocket forever. You know, it's like,
yeah, we'll just keep it until whenever we decide to leave. That'll be our goodbye. Not Cinderella goodbye, but you know, it's. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just saving it because they, you know, they could be like done, but still do that one and still make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And somebody told me something, actually, not to get too far off track, but about Nate Diaz.
Already.
the famous Faraz Zahabi, I think, is the one that said this. You know, amazing coach, brilliant mind. He was saying basically that he thinks that if there were no time limits, almost like the Pride style where it was like 10-minute rounds, and
right,
if there were no time limits, that Nate Diaz would be the number one pound for pound in the, you know.
I agree to that, Nick and Nate, but yeah, I think, I mean, they'll never fight each other, but yeah, if there was no time limit, it's just like, hey, it's like a big venue that's empty and no one, like, one of you actually has to leave, and one stays, one goes. Yeah, Nate Diaz would win every time.
Yeah.
I think all his losses are just, except for the Thompson fight. Was it Thompson? He actually got TKO'd.
Yeah.
All his fights are all his losses are very like, did he really lose though? It's all like,
Yeah.
Decisions are like, they're very like, they're not rarely ever one-sided decisions. Anyway, but the lightweight fight is Dustin Poirier versus McGregor.
The diamond.
Conor McGregor. I mean, I hate to jump right into predictions. I mean, it's an interesting story because the first fight they had was several years ago. I think 2016 or 2015. Between 14, 15, or 16. Different weight class. Significantly younger, like 5 to 6 years younger. McGregor pretty much went through him for the most part. It wasn't pretty much like a no. There wasn't much of a contest.
Yeah.
Even Poirier might even like admit to that. I think he got, you know, deer in the headlights kind of thing. I think he openly admitted to that. Like, hey, I was just kind of caught up in all the smack talk and whatnot. And the second fight, Poirier won. I think, and this is what McGregor said. He was focused more on the the probable Manny Pacquiao fight that could have happened, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's why you saw McGregor kind of was very flat-footed, very heavy on his front leg, which is rare, and very punch dominant, no kicks or anything. I think he had like maybe threw like 2 kicks that whole fight, but
I think that would definitely change his style. And you know, like a lot of people have noticed, he knows how to handle kicks like that, and he was not even blocking or checking,
Or when he did check, it just didn't matter anymore. This episode is sponsored by Nbox, a modern mailing center designed to meet the security needs of our time. Whether it's shopping for our favorite products or paying monthly bills, statistics show a transition to online convenience. It's quick and simple, which is why we love it. Unfortunately, it's created a new kind of criminal that seeks to steal your identity or take your package right from your porch. At Nbox, your postal mail isn't delivered to a mailbox that thieves can access in order to discover your private information. Instead, your mail is scanned and uploaded to a secure app you can access from anywhere in the world. You control what's opened, forwarded, shredded, or discarded with just a few clicks. To sweeten the deal, you no longer have to worry about ordering expensive items online, only to have them sit in front of your residence unattended. Simply shop online as you normally would and ship everything directly to their secure facility. You'll receive an instant arrival notification so you can stop by for a pickup or arrange a custom delivery at a time when you're home to receive it. As a listener, you can enjoy $5 off the lifetime of your subscription to an Nbox package plan when you enter tough words without spaces at checkout. Visit www.nboxdelivers.com to learn more.
Awesome. Yeah, and we want to thank Nbox for being a part of our journey. It's really awesome what they're doing, and we're looking to both grow together in massive ways. Our next sponsor, of course, is our Day One Premier Rank Marketing. If you have any marketing needs, whether it's Facebook campaigns, social media presence, even they're doing TikTok ads now, all types of things, we've got you covered. Mailing lists, pretty much anything you need in today's climate to grow. They've pretty much shifted with the pandemic and, making your business a lot more digital, and anytime that things shut down, you could still keep on pushing forward and even double your profits that way online if you haven't set it up yet. So reach out to them. Their description is right below. And our other two sponsors are Rick's Barbershop. If you're in the Garfield area and you need a fresh cut for your date, for your headshots, whatever you have going on this weekend, visit Rick. Tell him Jose sent you, Jose and David, or WordsrTough sent you, and he'll definitely hook you up. And our last sponsor is Worldwide Solutions. If you right now tax season is over, but they also do insurance, travel. They do everything that a business needs, payroll, all types of things like that. Just reach out to them, and they can get you all the services that you need. We really appreciate all our sponsors, and back to the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very odd fight. I mean, it was pretty even because Poirier did get rattled once or twice in the second fight, But I think it was such a weird in the first round because Khabib, I won't say struggled, but Khabib when Khabib fought McGregor the first time, or the first and only time, he not struggled, but he had a hard time taking McGregor down the first fight, that first round. I mean, eventually he took him down pretty much at will. But it was the first time ever McGregor got taken down by Poirier with such ease. It was
you know what? Towards the end of the third round, he actually started stopping the takedowns, and
against
Khabib.
Khabib.
Yeah. And then in the fourth round, he stopped one. But then, if you see the way Khabib pushed him against the cage, his foot gets stuck in the padding of one of the things, and that's how he secures the last final takedown in that fourth round. I thought he was turning the corner in that one, to be honest with you. With
McGregor.
McGregor, with Khabib. But what do you foresee for that fight this weekend?
McGregor looks like he's not back, but he is definitely. When he says the whole, remember when he fought Aldo, where he really, he's not at that level, but remember he really said, I'm gonna collect heads, and literally said, I want to kill you. I don't care. I'm going to... he literally said that he sees Poirier as a corpse that he's just going to, dissect, which is pretty... I don't know. that's pretty gruesome. But I just based on mannerism and attitude, I know maybe he's trying to convince himself, but the second fight, he was super nice and exchanging like hot sauce, like Poirier gave him hot sauce or something like that. They're really friendly, and I'm like, that's kind of odd. And I think McGregor even openly said he didn't take him seriously. He just like, well, this is more like a charity kind of thing. I donating to his charity, which never really happened for whatever reason. And I think McGregor is gonna win. How? I hate predicting how they're gonna win. I just feel like McGregor's gonna win. You know, I never get the predictions. I tend to predict the correct fighter who's gonna win, but I don't always predict how they're gonna win. And also, I'm going whatever Chael Sonnen picks, I pick the opposite. Because ever heard of the Sonnen curse?
No.
Like, it's a common. Chael Sonnen is a former UFC fighter who is now like a analyst, commentator, critique fighter, and I like the fact that now fighters are becoming like judges and analysts and like referees little by little. And you know, a lot of I mean, Joe Rogan's great, but you know, I think the color commentating, if you see Dominic Cruz talk and Cormier talk, and you realize, oh yeah, like they're way better at being a color commentator. But Chael Sonnen he has his own like podcast or YouTube page where he just talks about the next upcoming fight. He really likes John Jones. Like, he talks about John Jones like all the time. But every time almost 90% of the time he predicts someone's gonna win, it's always the other guy that wins. And he picked Poirier to win. I'm like, I think McGregor's gonna win. But I just think now McGregor actually is taking him seriously. Because it is difficult. I mean, in any sport too, you beat a guy decisively, and you gotta fight him again. You know, you're like, well, I already beat him pretty easily, and I did X, Y, and Z. I could just do the same thing, and yeah. So, and also Poirier got a lot better. But if you look at the McGregor's fight against Nate Diaz, the first fight, it was a pretty bad fight. I mean, for him, he just didn't gauge, or he didn't pace himself correctly. And the second fight, he made the proper adjustments. Did he finish Nate Diaz? No, but he did win. It was a close win, but he did win. I think McGregor's gonna make the proper adjustments and not make the same mistake twice. Like he is a pretty smart guy to not make the same mistake twice, in my opinion. I mean, they're both great fighters. It's kind of tricky fight, but I think McGregor's gonna win that.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not betting though. I'm not putting money down.
Not putting money. I'm gonna go with McGregor too, but the only thing that scares me though is that Dustin is out there saying he's gonna submit him. So that's kind of scary to me, because it's like that is a really tough task. You know, yeah, you could maybe take him down, but Dustin's ground game is pretty tough. Good. And as you know, McGregor's gotten tapped out. So people,
twice.
Yeah, people once, you know. I'm sure he works on his jiu-jitsu, but I think, you know, he can't catch up on all those years, like Nate said in the first fight. You know, like you can't go back and catch up. You know, you can't catch up.
You can't you can't cram for like grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu. There's no cramming involved. You can't just like quickly learn something in a week or two or three, or even a few months. It's really hard to make progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's a pretty tall order. Maybe he can. I don't know. It's just a really tricky fight to. I'm actually legit excited. I might actually just grab a few friends. We'll go to like Buffalo Wild Wings or Champs, or you know, I don't know, some random franchise, and just go and hang out, which I haven't done in a long time. Because are we officially post-pandemic, or are we still in it?
I think.
Are we allowed to say pandemic?
We're still in pandemic, I think, yeah.
Are we allowed to say COVID anymore? Because, I don't know, before it was like your video get flagged for saying that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully
we're going to find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. By the way, subscribe. This is nonsense. It's like we get like, I mean, I hate to look at I'm not a numbers guy, but like, you know, you see when you get when it comes to money or anything, when you see when you get 10, you want 11. When you get 11, you want 12. It's sort of like this sort of, I don't know, maybe it's a human desire, maybe it's a guy thing, I don't know, but it's like you always want to see those numbers go up.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like it kind of plateau when it comes to subscribers, not views. But yeah, please subscribe. The second fight, this is probably the first time I'm actually not rooting against, but I don't think the grappler is gonna win. I come from wrestling, and I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 14 years. I'm always rooting for the grappler or the wrestler or the jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah. This is the first time where I'm thinking like, I don't think Gilbert Burns. Oh, so sorry. The welterweight fight, Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy, stop calling yourself Wonder Boy. It just say Wonder Man or Superman. I don't know. It's just Wonder Boy. It's like, I don't know. But Gilbert Burns is like a legit black belt world champion jiu-jitsu grappler. Like really, really good. Like gi and no gi, with a uniform, without a uniform. I think the reason why I think Gilbert Burns is gonna lose is because this is like just statistics or numbers. A lot of guys that have a championship fight, whether it be the champ or the challenger, and they lose, their following fight, they lose again.
Yeah.
And it's a common thing.
I was feeling that way too. Like usually they're not the same after that. They need a little tune-up fight, but you don't use Stephen Thompson as a tune-up fight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a tough guy. But he's longer. He blitzes in and out. Because his wrestling defense is phenomenal. He rarely gets held down. I'm just trying to like. I mean, unless Gilbert Burns wants to get into the pocket, like, because Stephen Thompson's great at range, right? And if he can just get in that pocket where he can't kick or, do any sort of get the end of his punches, then I think he might win. But I don't think he's gonna get that close. I think he's just gonna keep him at range, and he's gonna outscore him. I think it's gonna be a 3-round fight where he just gets outscored.
Yeah, I think that's gonna benefit Stephen Thompson too. That it's a 3-round fight. He's gonna be able to stay fresh for most of that fight because they've been fighting 5-round fights usually. But yeah, I think the same thing. I think Stephen Thompson's got this one in the bag. But the weird thing is, it's like Gilbert Burns just fought for the title.
Yeah.
Stephen Thompson's going to get a win. And, like, it feels like he's always in limbo. Like,
Stephen Thompson?
Yeah, for, like, the title shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you get 2 chances at a title and lose both times, it's really hard to get a third one. It's really hard. Like, this is why I don't see Masvidal getting a chance at the belt again. You rarely ever see a guy lose at a chance for the belt twice and get a third one.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. If you're watching this on YouTube, put in the comments like, hey, this one guy that we're...
Unless your name is Joseph Benavidez.
Joseph
Mighty Mouse, I think, like 3 times.
God bless his heart. Like he fought Mighty Mouse 3 times.
I think 3 times, and he fought
Davison Figueroa twice. Yeah, so there you go. I'm wrong. Yeah. 5 times.
I think the first time he fought Mighty Mouse though wasn't for the title.
It wasn't a championship fight, but yeah. Well, what do you think? Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor going after the fight? Like, so if McGregor wins, what do you think he's gonna do?
I think he's gonna go right for Oliveira.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's gonna go right for the title, try to reclaim the title, and then that'll cement his place in like the GOAT conversation, at least for that section.
You really
of
think
weights.
It's a GOAT?
I mean, like people will claim, like they'll be like, I guess not like overall pound for pound, but like, like he could go back to like lightweight, featherweight.
Yeah, we need a new category, just like how Masvidal is like BMF. I think when it comes to like GOAT status, I just think McGregor's one of those guys where he sort of rewrote, okay, this is how you can play this game. He might not be the best at like the game, or how do you say this? Almost view as almost like people that play video games, right? There's like, pick whatever game, shooter, Halo, whatever. Mm-hmm. If you're I guess you can say you can either be the best at it, like you could beat everybody, like you could be like a GSP where you just beat everybody. But if you were to say, did GSP like change the way and how you go about fighting? Not really. His sort of style is very safe, like, and he didn't do much outside of the octagon. Like McGregor is sort of like, he didn't win every fight, but like the way he sort of traveled or traversed or navigated the MMA fighting community environment, he's like one of the few guys where, because Anderson Silva talked about like, yeah, I want to fight Roy Jones Jr. I couldn't say that, but he never did until recently. He fought Chavez Jr. And actually won. Surprisingly, I was like, wow, it actually worked. But I think for McGregor, whenever he retires, I think we need to give him like this title, the GOAT of something, because he's not necessarily the best fighter, like, but the way he sort of like said, hey, this is like how you can go about being prolific and making money, and you can maybe lose once here and there, but still have clout, still have like, still can. I don't know how he's doing it, but we'll figure it out one day.
I think with GSP though, I think his thing will be more like, he was one of the first guys that brought like almost like the professional athlete type of mentality to MMA. I think
athleticism, like he actually used athleticism as like a tool,
and he also like sought out the best coaches. Like he didn't just go to one camp, like let's say like Matt Hughes and like those people had their camps, and he kind of like picked the best jiu-jitsu coach, went to the best boxing coach, like in his eyes for his style.
He did gymnastics.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. He did like outside type of, unorthodox sports.
Well, GSP is one of the few first guys that he took more of a boxing kind of method of like training. Like he didn't like a lot of guys like, shoot box or American Top Team. It was more like a team thing, and you just showed up and you just trained just like everybody else. Like this guy and this guy have a fight upcoming and we'll help them out, but it's all, everyone's sort of practicing all at once. GSP is one of the first guys to actually be like, no, like I'm gonna pick this guy, they're gonna help me, and it's like,
and it's all about him.
Yeah. You kind of very self-centered, which is in a good way, but look what happened. He like almost unstoppable pretty much.
Yep. Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he always loses to men called Matt. Matt Serra and Matt Hughes. But I think if Poirier wins, he might retire. He's like, hey, I got my red panty night money and I'm done. I'm good. He even said that he's fighting for money, not for a title.
Yeah.
McGregor wins. I do think he's gonna fight Oliveira, and actually like fight more often in MMA. Stephen Thompson, if he beats Gilbert Burns, I think he is definitely ranked wise. He's the only top 5 guy, welterweight guy that hasn't had a title shot at all recently. Mathematically, it makes sense that he gets the next title fight, but when does the UFC ever abide by their rankings? Like never. Like they never.
Yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, you get it. Like you're number 7, you get a title shot. Like jumping a completely different like UFC fight or fight night or pay-per-view. Like Derek Lewis is fighting Cyril Gane for UFC 265 when the champ isn't even like hurt. It's like, I mentioned this before we recorded, but Francis Ngannou wants to fight who's the current heavyweight champion.
Francis Ngannou.
Yeah. Did I say his name wrong?
No,
I don't think. Okay.
I might have said it wrong just now.
He wants to fight in September, and the UFC is like, yeah, but can you fight sooner? And he's like, no. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll just have an interim fight then.
I think the UFC is having a tough time with his management, and they were going back and forth on social media, and his management used to be he used to work under Dana White, and I guess they had a bad falling out. So now he's mad. He became like a manager and works with fighters. So that kind of has something to do with it. But I think it's not so much to slight Francis. I think it's much more to like lock in his next fight for sure, where they can't like maneuver, and they'll be like, all right, now you definitely got to fight this guy, or he's gonna. If he defends that interim belt before you fight again, you're gonna have to, you know, he's gonna be the new champion, and you're gonna have to fight him for the belt when you come back.
That's a good way of manipulating him, because if there's an interim belt and you're the champ, the official champ or undisputed champ, your next fight coming back has to be that guy.
Exactly,
if you don't fight that guy, then you lose your belt.
Yeah,
I think there's some sort of rule. I believe so.
I think if he doesn't also, because the interim champion can fight again and he can't defend the interim belt, so they might just make him the champion. Like, let's say if all of a sudden Francis,
you can't have the champ and interim champ fight two other guys at the same time. It's just not gonna work. Makes sense.
And I don't mean to go off topic, but there's some breaking news that just came through on my phone.
Go ahead.
Tyson Fury is fighting Deontay Wilder July 24th. He just tested positive for COVID-19.
Who?
Tyson Fury. Yeah.
Oh.
And that derails the whole fight.
You can't.
Yeah, so he's got to go into protocol, and I guess it's getting pushed back now. But I mean, I was looking forward to that too. That's a trilogy.
That's a good trilogy, and that's rare. I mean, boxing is so like, I think boxing is learning from MMA, or specifically the UFC, where like you can't just give a big fight once every 3 to 4 or 5 years. That's just, you're not gonna keep your audience, you know. And I think little by little they're very, very slowly they're actually building a fight card in boxing, you know. Like, not just have a main event and everyone else you don't know who they are, like actually building a fight card where like for the most part, not every fight, but like most fights are actually kind of interesting to watch. Again, you know, hit or miss. You can't guarantee anything in MMA, but yeah, I think boxing is learning a little bit. And honestly, at first, when it comes to like the Paul brothers, I saw them as like pests or just trolls. Honestly, I think the boxing community needs them, because like, you guys are boring. I'm sorry. Like, I don't get a lot of boxing fans like, what do you mean? Like, boxing is just boring. And I love jiu-jitsu, especially gi jiu-jitsu, even gi. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 14 years. They have to change something with the rules. I mean, I'm saying with boxing and with like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like you need to build your audience. And if it's just like, if your audience is only fellow fighters or fellow jiu-jitsu guys,
hardcores,
your sport isn't gonna grow. And I think the Paul brothers brought a completely different audience into boxing, whether it be because they like boxing or they just want to see him lose or win, whatever, but it doesn't really matter. But you need to bring eyes into whatever you're doing, or it won't grow. Or if it does grow, it grows very, very slowly. I think what's happening with boxing, I think they got lazy. They kind of started, you know, getting lazy with their laurels, or resting on their laurels, you know, where they're like, oh, well, it's been around for hundreds of years, you know. Boxing is, you know, whatever, the Godfather, the pinnacle of, you know, fighting or whatever, and realizing actually you need to actually like provide something entertaining, you know, like, do something.
Yeah, definitely. That's why they do like you know, they shorten the ring sometimes and things like that. You know, put people in like closer quarters. They even do that in the UFC sometimes. Like, there's like negotiations on the size of the octagon. It's definitely does dictate the action.
And I think 5 rounds. With UFC, with the MMA, 5 rounds is fine. Boxing, I think like 8 rounds most. Yeah. Max 8 rounds.
That's a good idea, cutting down the rounds, because then people could go more all out. Yeah. During the fight.
And there's very few fighters that can go a pace where you could go 8 rounds or more. In MMA, if you said before, if they had infinite amount of rounds, Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz will both win every single fight. But, you know, that wouldn't be very entertaining to watch in a sense of like, and plus people would just die. Like you would just
yeah, that would not be sanctioned. You'd have to do it on like an island.
Yeah, you would. I mean, legit people just. I mean, it happened to like boxers all the time, or it was just that constant getting hit in the head. Not even the hard hits, but it's like the constant hits, little by little. That you can get some pretty bad damage.
Yeah.
Anyway, jumping down to heavyweight, Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy.
This is, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. Tuivasa has a really cool looking tattoo on his abdomen area, and I think he's Maori or he's Samoan, one or the other. I'm sorry if I got you.
I think it's the first one you said.
Maori, yeah, New Zealand Maori. I'm sorry.
He does the shoeies.
I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm proud of my ancestry and having Taino ancestry, but if I could pick, like, if someone could say, hey, you could pick before you're alive, before you're born, you can pick whatever culture you want to be a part of, it'll probably be Maori. That's a pretty cool, like, culture overall. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just really something about it. They're really cool people.
Yeah.
It could be the tattoos, it could be the singing, or the history of cannibalism. I don't know what it is. But I mean, do you know the All Blacks?
Yeah, the rugby team.
The rugby team, yeah. All Blacks. I got into rugby because I saw a video online of them doing their haka dance. I'm like, what is this? Like, what?
Yeah,
what is
and they
this
do it before
thing?
the match starts, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they're definitely top 2 to 3 or champions every year. They're definitely up there. But and that watching a haka on YouTube was what got me into like watching rugby, like, and it's really entertaining. Like, I'm the type where I need like maybe it's my ADD, but I need that consistent like entertainment. This is why I can't watch as an adult. I can't watch baseball anymore.
Okay.
I just fall asleep. But rugby, it's pretty cool to watch. I mean, once you understand the rules, it's pretty cool to watch. But when it comes to Tai Tuivasa, do you think what are your thoughts?
I honestly would love to see Greg Hardy get knocked out by Tai Tuivasa. Yeah, that would make my day.
That's the first time you're like, I want to see someone just get knocked out. That guy. Why him?
I don't know. I have like a grudge with Greg Hardy, and you know, as much as like his checkered past with like the you know, like abuse allegations and things like that. Just something about him. He always rubs me the wrong way. Like he reminds me of that guy that like has always gotten away with things his whole life. Kind of like John Jones. You know, has that kind of like
I feel like
cloak on them.
There is this thing. I'm noticing this constant trend. Like you don't like when. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you like it when a person got away with something.
they didn't answer for
that's not that's not how karma works.
Yeah.
You don't deserve what you have. You need to get taken down a few notches.
Yeah, and he's had a couple losses, but he hasn't really gotten
humbled.
He hasn't gotten really
humbled.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he was standing right here, you'd be probably touching the ceiling. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't have any personal grudges against Greg Hardy, but I don't see him winning.
And he was also on the Cowboys. I forgot about that.
Oh, Cowboys! I don't like the Cowboys. I mean, as a kid, I've always been a Giants fan, and when I see them play, I root for the Giants. I mean, I don't necessarily follow football, but like if I watch baseball, I'm rooting for the Yankees or second Mets, but usually Yankees. If I see, did I say football? If I see baseball, I usually root for the Yankees. If I watch football, I root for the Giants. But that's just because I just was raised in the tri-state area, so it's how do you not? I don't understand people. This is a complete side. I don't understand people that root for a team from a city or a state they've never been to.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Yeah, there are some people like my friends, like the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm like, all right,
cool. But I remember I've been on a date with one girl and many years ago, and she was rooting for the Saints. And I'm like, why? Like, it's like, my team is gonna win. She kept saying my team. Like, who are your team? Like, oh, the Saints. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, can you give me your story of like why you like the Saints so much? She's like, oh, I just like the Saints. Why I like the jersey. And I'm like, have you ever even been to? Is it New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah.
No, New Orleans.
Well,
New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
New Orleans.
I think you said it right.
She's like, no. I'm like, so what is it about the Saints? Like, I don't know. I just like the Saints. I'm like, so just arbitrarily just liking I don't know. I don't understand that, but
yeah.
I'm not saying you have to like the team from where you live, but it kind of just makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always found team sports kind of odd. This is why we're talking about MMA because you're talking about individuals. But with Tuivasa, I just think he's gonna win. Because I just think he's technically, well, Greg Hardy's just he's a gifted athlete. You know, he's just genetically gifted in that way. Like, you know, which I can envy a little bit or a lot. I'm not genetically gifted in any way. But Tuivasa, I just feel like he's just more savvy, smart. He just, I just think he just skill-wise, as a fighter, I think he's just a better fighter. I think Hardy's a better athlete, but if I pick fighter versus athlete, I pick fighter because they're fighting. I mean, if you're doing like a 40-meter or 50-meter sprint, sure, I'll root for Greg Hardy, but we're not sprinting, you're fighting, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm rooting for Tuivasa, and it couldn't happen to a cooler dude, you know, if he does beat him.
Yeah. And he does this whole tradition of like drinking from a fan's shoe. I don't know if they'll let him do that this time around, but I don't know if it's a cultural thing or a personal thing, but he would pour alcohol or usually beer into a boot or a shoe or from a fan, and he'll just drink from it.
Yeah, it's called a shoey.
It's disgusting.
It is a cultural thing. They do it in New Zealand.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, and I forgot who did one with him, and they were like, never again in my life.
Yeah, because...
And the thing is, the key is like it's also a random person too. It's not like a random shoot like that you have saved
like
there.
Athlete's foot. I don't care. Just drink it. Like get strep throat, and I don't know. That can't be healthy for you.
No, but
not at all.
Yeah, maybe that's why he never got COVID. You know.
Yeah, maybe that's why his immune system is like solid.
Yeah.
But in the quick addition, it was like, is he gonna fight? Is he not gonna fight? Oh, you think he's gonna just get knocked out, Greg Hardy, or you want him to get knocked out?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think he's gonna get knocked out, and I want him to. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's Sugar Sean O'Malley versus upcoming fighter just signed Chris Moutinho. Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. Like Sean O'Malley, like for whatever reason, couldn't get a fight. Like he had a fight. The guy pulled out, and I don't understand how this happened. Like, where are the other bantamweight fighters that didn't step up? Maybe it's just a weight. Maybe they couldn't because they're not close to their weight. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, when I wrestled in high school, like, we weren't even allowed to get past 10 pounds of our like wrestling weight. Like, you had to be like, you call it striking distance, where you can just like, okay, give me a day or 2 or 3, and I'll be down to that weight. Like, maybe they got to get paid more. I don't know, but like, if I was a UFC fighter, again, this is all hyperbole. I don't know. I'm not. I would be at least kind of close to my weight that I would fight at. I wouldn't just be, because some guys will fight at 135, but they're walking around like a 165 or 170. Like,
yeah, it's real tough. You know, it's real tough, that weight cut. But
I'm 160. I wasn't 135 since, I don't know, I was like 23, 24. That was like 10 years ago. But I don't know. If you're fighting, I just feel like you should be kind of close to your fighting weight. Maybe that's easier said than done. I don't know. But yeah. I did cut weight for wrestling, and I have cut weight for jiu-jitsu. Yeah, cutting 30 pounds sucks. Like, don't do it. Just lose weight the right way, actually, like fat or excess fat, and stay down. I mean, it sucks because you got to be on a diet, but that's way healthier than like cutting drastic amount of weight, and that's how you get like concussions and like brain damage. You know?
Yeah, and based on the fact of how much they train, you only come to 3 conclusions. Either they were hurt and they couldn't train,
right,
or B, they ate like They didn't care, you know, like they ate like for two people.
4th of July food.
It was like, it was their birthday month, you know, and or 3, they didn't really train, you know, like they didn't really train. They just didn't have the put the effort in, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think Sean O'Malley has it if he doesn't hurt himself or if his legs or his ankles are solid, because he does have like ankle problems. Like it's a reoccurring thing. I think it's a small man thing, and I have the same kind of issue where my ankles roll. This is why I never wear low top shoes. I always wear like high top shoes, because my ankles will roll in if I'm not careful. I think he has the same thing. Anytime I ran like long distances, if I got lazy with like how my feet stepped, I'll just roll right in, and it's not fun. But it's very different if you're getting kicked and hit. So he might have the same condition. I have no clue, but yeah, if he doesn't hurt himself during a fight, he should be fine. I think he's gonna win. If not, then this Chris Moutinho.
I think it's Moutinho.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a chance to be like a next thing. I don't know. Yeah. But also it's like you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. So he's like, hey, I'll take the fight in short notice. I'll make the weight. So. All power to him. So hopefully he does. I'm just rooting for Sean O'Malley because I'm familiar with him. So I just think he's gonna win. Maybe that's a really bad reason to like predict a fight, but yeah.
You know, sometimes you pick up like on people's attitudes leading up to the fight, and I don't like what I've been seeing from Sean O'Malley, and it reminds me of the same thing like happened with Chito Vera, and then he lost.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm getting a feeling about that fight. Like he might get
caught
an upset. Yeah, like another upset in his life.
We'll see.
And you know, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting the feeling.
What they should definitely have this. Like what color or how is he gonna color his hair for this fight? They should definitely have like a bet of like, is he gonna have a purple hair? Is he gonna have like rainbow? Is he gonna have just like blonde and green? Like they should definitely have some sort of like betting odds of like what color coordination, what type of hair is he gonna be braided or not braided? Yeah,
we should make an app where you can color his hair and submit it.
I like it. It's kind of he's kind of like the not. I mean, this is a really bad comparison.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, it's Tekashi 6ix9ine. Is he kind of like the Tekashi 6ix9ine of like MMA? Not in like. I don't have...
Not in the snitch way.
I don't have positive... Let's keep it this way. I don't have positive opinions towards Tekashi 6ix9ine. But then again, what I know about him is all based on what I see on the internet. And what a lot of stuff on the internet is just nonsense. So I'm sure if I met the guy, he's probably pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know. I've heard his music. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't... I guess it's just not my demographic. It doesn't quite ring true to my ears, his music. I don't have much.
Yeah, I don't get it with him, and I'm very progressive, like musically. You know, like,
I mean, you're a musician, so
yeah. And I would like even something that I don't appreciate and won't listen to. I'll be like, that's cool that he's getting this fame, and you know, from such a wild thing, you know, and like, even if it's a type of music that I don't even really understand. Like, there's some artists who are doing like a lot of crazy like piano work. That is just really dissonant, and you're just like, you can't listen to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, there's crowds for everything, but him, I just don't get it. It almost feels like fabricated, you know.
It doesn't. I try my. I mean, I'm a teacher, and I try my best to I'm not necessarily a fan of everything, but I try to understand. Okay, I see the appeal. This is, and with that particular guy, musician, if I want to call him that, I guess he is. Mm-hmm. I'm still give me a second to figure out if I like his music or not. I don't think I do. I don't really get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But but Sean O'Malley is definitely one of those guys where if he's not careful when it comes to like drinking your own Kool-Aid, like kind of like Ronda Rousey kind of thing, where she kind of just believed like, yeah, you know, I could do. I think I know what you're talking about. There's a bit of an attitude aura thing. Like, wait, like there's something off about that type of attitude. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's very you know when you see it, and you can kind of see a person's attitude switch from like being respectful. I don't like to say the word humble, but like being serious, and you take your opponent seriously. I feel like maybe Sean O'Malley, little by little, is like not taking his opponents as seriously as he should, or dismissing them, which you really shouldn't do. I mean, not shouldn't, but like, yeah, if anything, you should like not. I mean, let me use the word should, but maybe it's not the best idea to be so dismissive.
Yeah, he was really cool, and he was really confident, and everything was going great. And I think it was when he lost to Chito Vera, he got this like anger under him, how he didn't really lose and he's still undefeated,
right?
Type of thing. And ever since then, it kind of just like soured, like his whole demeanor and everything. Like it became like I'm better than you.
He's like, I don't really care about the loss, but you really do care about the loss.
Yeah, that's all he talks about. I forgot what podcast he was on. He was like, I think it was actually like on a network TV like sports show. And he was like, he kept giving the guy a hard time because he kept saying he was, 12-1, let's say.
Yeah, the record.
And then he's like, no, I'm undefeated, this, that. And he just kept saying it over. It's just like, oh.
Anyway, your last loss, like, against so-and-so, like, I didn't lose. I think I saw that clip on Instagram.
Yeah, and even the first time's funny too, but then if like you keep going, it's like, come on. Yeah. You lost. You lost.
And I don't have much of an opinion, but it's good to mention. There's women's bantamweight, Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya.
Yeah.
Kunitskaya. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with both ladies.
Yeah, Irene Aldana is like more of like a wrestler style. She's a Mexican fighter. She's really tough, and Yana Kunitskaya is a kickboxing, tall, lanky, like Russian kind of girl. It's gonna be a good matchup because Kunitskaya is tough and she's got good defensive jiu-jitsu where she could get back up. So it's gonna be a tough matchup, but I think Aldana's got it.
You think it's gonna be a decision?
She's gonna grind it out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this though. Women's MMA definitely, like, I don't know what it is, but you sometimes you see in elementary school or high school where two dudes will like fight in a yard or whatever, and somehow they're like friends, like the next day or the next week or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, unless it's like really bad, like you killed a cousin or something like that. That's pretty bad. But like, you just anytime there's some sort of like altercation amongst men in general, sometimes they kind of not make up, but they kind of like, all right, they squash it, you know, sometimes. Yeah. But you see it way more, at least I saw it way more in elementary school and middle school, where like you would see two guys that just couldn't stand each other, and then like they just fight to get it over with, and then like they're friends. I mean, I'm not saying all men do this or all male fighters do this, but like there is that sort of mutual respect after a fight. But I think this is why I have such a, maybe not now because I don't know Ronda Rousey now, but like when Ronda Rousey fought, she had this sort of like grudge after the fight, even when she won. Is like, I still don't like you, like, but you won. You're the champ. Yeah. Like, what is, like, why has this such a grudge? Yeah. And I've noticed with a lot of female fighters, and this is a good thing, by the way, like, they really, like, go at it. Like, they really go, like, I don't get bored at all watching women's MMA. At all. I don't. Yeah. It's in a rare occasions, there's always boring fights here and there, but for the most part, when I see two women walk in, I'm like, oh, I gotta sit down and watch this because it's gonna be scrappy. Like, they really like go at it. I mean, you never know. But then again, you could see for men's fight, you can see two prime athletes like Adesanya versus like Yoel Romero. Not Adesanya's fault, but that was the most boring fight ever. But
yeah. And the crazy thing is with that fight too, they're not even like the biggest names. No, but
it's just two women fighting like up and comers, like, in like this fight's
on that
crazy.
Same fight card you have like Jessica Ai versus Jennifer Maia, which are way bigger names, but they're not even up in the card. You know, so that just goes to show you how like, you know, people are really moving ahead in that women's division. You know.
Yeah, it's but I'm looking forward to seeing this card. I do want to mention the side note. I actually have it written down. Side note. The UFC 263. Congrats to Israel Adesanya again of beating Marvin Vettori. Unanimous decision. It was pretty one-sided. I feel like he could have finished him around the third, fourth round, if he really pulled the trigger. I just think he just enjoyed punching him in the face and kicking him at will. Congrats to Brandon Moreno. I want him to
crazy.
I want to give him the nickname Legos or something because what I love about Israel Adesanya and also Brandon Moreno is like they're sort of changing the way a fighter lives their life. You know, like Israel like is a huge anime fan and does dances and b-boy stuff, and which is really cool. And even does, you know, the last style bender is a reference to the last airbender, and I like that. And Moreno's like legit fighter and a dad of I think of like 3 or 4 kids. I don't know how many kids he has.
I think 2.
2?
Yeah.
He's gonna get more soon. I'm sure of it. But he's like, no, I like Legos and I like, you know, Funko Pops, and I don't know. I just like the fact of I like it when fighters, or not just fighters, but like people when they're in a sort of this niche career where they kind of break that sort of stereotype of like, oh, this is how a so-and-so person, an artist, fighter, musician should live. And they're like, nope, I like to do this.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things I liked early on back in the day. Rich Franklin.
Yeah, math teacher.
He was like, yeah, exactly.
Like, this guy's a math teacher. Like, what? Like, he's like, yeah, on Monday, he has to go back to work. But it's such a bizarre thing. Like, how are you a UFC champion and still a teacher? Someone's fault. Not the fighter. Someone, UFC is falling short. Anyway, like, did he know that the UFC, their growth compared to the salary or the pay of the fighters aren't proportionate? Like, they don't quite. When you look at it's like the UFC increased like this, but the salary of the fighters grew like that much. It's not a proportionate growth.
I get.
And I know you're into money and all that.
Yeah, I get shit talked a lot about this online because this is one of those things where I'm not on the popular side of the opinion.
Are you on the UFC side?
I mean, I clearly see why like a lot of people make it so cut and dry, almost like the people that are like, oh, why is LeBron James making $40 million and Lisa Lobo? Yeah, she retired years ago. I mean, I don't even know.
Cheryl Swoop.
Like why is she making $180K? You know, like that's when it gets into like.
I think Cheryl Swoop is like 45. I don't. That's the only women's basketball player I know that's like legit.
But with the UFC, like do I think fighters should get paid? Fighters deserve $10 million, like a contract where they get $10 million a year. You know, like some fighters, once you make a certain, like they deserve all the money in the world. That's not what I mean, but there's some people that really gotta like, you know, look at their understanding about how the UFC, like, because they compare it to like the NFL, NBA,
right?
And that's like another episode.
The NFL and NBA have been around for like 80 plus years.
Exactly, and not even just that too, but like. A lot of these players have mandatory things, like they have to be at facilities all day for months on end. You know, like it's an actual like job,
career.
Like, the fighters are in so much control of their camp, where they are, what time they could wake up one day and say, "Hey, I need rest," and just it's just.
They're in a way they're contractors.
Yeah, and then some of them will fight literally 20 seconds in 1 year. You know, if you have one fight in a year and you knock someone out, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, it's different. You know, some other sports, like you have to be in a city on this day and you got to play that game no matter how you feel, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just so much.
There's more nuance to it, which is completely side thing.
Yeah. But definitely fighters should get way more money. Definitely.
And even though I'm a Nate Diaz fan, Nick Diaz fan for life, I've been following their career since I was in high school. Sadly, Nate Diaz lost against unanimous decision against Leon Edwards. I feel like Leon Edwards is kind of like in a way, the Stipe of the welterweight division. Like, he just gets no respect. He's kind of Rodney Dangerfield. He just gets no respect. Yeah. I don't
I think
know
part of
what's
that
going to take him to get
his
a
timeout. You know, like, he took a lot of time out of the game, you know, even though it was COVID.
Yeah.
But he could have fought. But, yeah, this is the fight. You can't really deny him his credit. But then at the end, again, you see, like, he gets tagged and he... Honestly, if Diaz wanted to take him out and wasn't pointing at him, that's the thing that people say. Like, if he would have just jumped on him, he could have finished him because he was like shaking around for like literally like 5 to 10 seconds.
He was on wobbly feet for about 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a long time in a fight.
Yeah, so if Nick just went up and just like clocked him a couple more times, he would have hit the canvas. He could have mounted him or taken the back. You know, classic.
And
Diaz style.
Nate Diaz actually posted, I think on Twitter or Instagram. He said it during the post-fight interview. He talked about having like a party at his place or at whatever Airbnb he was renting, and like thousands of people showed up. And I heard it was not the best. I mean, I'm sure everything went fine, but yeah, I mean, if you have a don't announce your house party on a pay-per-view, like, people will show up.
I remember him doing that, actually. I didn't hear that a lot of people came.
Thousands of people showed up.
Wow.
And obviously traffic, you know, bumper to bumper, people.
Shit. He shut it down.
Yeah. I mean, he's legit, like, he can retire today and still, I would pay money to have them have a podcast or something like that. Like, I don't know, they're all the money that the Diaz brothers have gained, or not have gained, but I think their price tag is way higher than what they're getting. To be honest, I think they are one of the few athletes or fighters that have carried the MMA torch for like years, for like literally 2 decades. I wished, and like Nate Diaz has been fighting how many? I hate to say the word generations, but like,
I think he was an Ultimate Fighter 4.
Yeah, like, that's a long career, like, and still like being relevant and being so always fighting top 5, top 10 guys every single fight. Imagine that, like.
Yep.
People see his career, like his record, but if you think about it, his record is like almost all his losses, like I was saying before, were like not terribly one-sided. They're pretty close, except for like 1 or 2 fights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not many people can say that. But anyway, that's like we talked a whole bunch. I didn't even keep track of time. Usually we do.
Right before we go, I'll do just like we won't talk about all the other fights, but just like some of the notable people that will be fighting.
Yes.
For people who, like, let's say someone that just wants to see McGregor and they want to see like what else can I watch on this card that I'll like. I know Carlos Condit's fighting Max Griffin, so he's on the end of his career. You know, is he still going to put in another good performance? He just won his last fight.
Condit,
Condit, yeah. And then you have Michel Pereira versus Nico Price. That's going to be a really wild fight. Those are 2 people who really bring it every time.
I call Nico Price delts. Like his clavicles and shoulders are like ridiculous.
Yeah, and also Ryan Hall finally got a fight.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. No one ever wants to fight him because he's a little wizard on the mat. It's
kind of, you know what, and it's very humbling to. I mean, Ryan Hall, he does it on purpose. He's kind of dopey looking. Like, you know, when he wins, he's kind of just like, shrugs his shoulders, like, I guess I won. So I can see why guys are like, he's very like unassuming type of fighter, and I think he leans into that, you know.
Yeah, I'm excited for that fight, to see him doing his like leg attacks, the rolling leg attacks. And then Jennifer Maia, Jessica I mentioned before.
Right.
Yeah, Jessica I is a good women's fighter. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a good, exciting night this Saturday, actually. So
Saturday, UFC 264. I don't know what time.
The main card, the pay-per-view starts at 10. Eastern time.
Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern time.
I wonder how people in the Central and the West feel like that. Like everything is Eastern time.
Yeah, that's why like some of these baseball teams on the West Coast. It's like, who's gonna watch baseball at 10:30 at night? You know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Over there it's 7, but if you're gonna try to watch the Mariners, that's why nobody ever watches them here.
Yeah.
Because it starts here like 10:10.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I give props to those countries that UFC is gonna be playing or live, at 10, 11 midnight here in the East Coast, but like in New Zealand, like those Thai Tuivasa fans, like I don't know what time that is. Like
like in the UK, I think
like what
people stay
4
up to like
6 a.m. Like
4 a.m. Yep.
I will never wake up at 6 a.m. to watch UFC. That's crazy. Like all power to you.
Yeah, even the Euros
fans.
were tough for me, and those were running this year at like 3 p.m.
Yeah, I remember it'll be like a Saturday, and I'm like walking into jiu-jitsu, and they're like, "Oh, do you see the fight?" And I'm like, "Is it not tonight?" Like, no, it just happened like right now. I'm like, but it's like 2 p.m. It's like, yeah, it just happened. I'm like, really?
Yeah, that's like when they did was it Macau or whatever, when it was like what's his name? I forgot his name. It was like
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm lost too.
It was the only fight they did in Macau, but that fight was really early. That was like at 10 a.m. And Macau is like, I think, in China, but it's like the Las Vegas of China.
Okay. Are we gonna get flagged from China, like John Cena, like calling Taiwan a country? And I know John Cena can like speak fluent. I think it was Mandarin or I think it was Mandarin. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he could speak fluent Mandarin.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, pretty amazing. That's a whole other episode, like why John Cena can speak fluent Mandarin.
He's a smart guy.
He knows his audience.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty much it. And again, guys, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. It helps us. And if you have any predictions on who you think's gonna fight, who you think's gonna win, not who you think's gonna fight, put it in the comments below. And I think we're also on Spotify as well.
Yeah,
Spotify. I don't know how Spotify works. Maybe I should listen to.
We have
Spotify.
the link tree. Yeah, we have the link tree, so you can check that out.
All right.
Yeah, the episodes go up there shortly after they do their thing to them. In the Spotify world, or whatever they do in their offices.
And I have been asked, what is this guy right here? I'm not going to tell you. It's for you to figure out. This yellow guy here, not going to tell you. If you are a fan of, I guess you can say, Japanese kawaii. Is that correct? Kawaii means cute stuff. Look it up, but I'm kind of curious who actually knows what this yellow fellow is here. But yeah, I just like it. It's kind of cool to have in front of me as well. Anyway, I'm really bad at concluding these. I think you're better at it than I am.
Yeah, so thanks so much for checking us out. Like David said before, give us a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. That's the little trifecta, and it takes about 5 seconds, and it helps us out so much.
Yes.
So please do that.
Punch it, kick it, slam it, whatever.
Slam it down, dunk it.
Destroy it. Just press the button.
All right, and that's been episode 13. Another MMA episode for you guys.
13.
And this is Words Are Tough. And my name is Jose Rodriguez.
I'm David Diokendo.
And we will see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.